Hi guys, it's Carl here. So I hope you're all doing okay. It's Monday afternoon here in Dublin. It's beautiful. The weather's really nice. So things could be worse. So things are okay, and I hope they're okay with you. Just really quickly, want to just thank people as well. There's a lot of people who followed me on YouTube, or the different people in the different Facebook groups and LinkedIn and on the mailing list and all the rest. So I just really want to thank people because the support really means a lot to me. The other day I got 500 subscribers on YouTube, which is not a lot in the world of YouTube, but it's a lot to me. So again, I really appreciate people taking interest in my work and reaching out and offering support. So it means a lot to me. So today I'm going to talk about narrative traps, and specifically how we become trapped within the family narrative. And the idea of a narrative trap came from a behavioural scientist in England called Paul Dolan. And he wrote a book called Happiness by Design. And his work, he researches happiness and what makes people happy and what doesn't make people happy. And his research findings are very interesting. But he coined this term, the narrative trap, to describe how often our happiness is determined by what society tells us would make us happy. The money and the car and the body and the job and the travelling, going on holidays all the time, 4 or 5 times a year, and all these other maybe unrealistic expectations that we place in ourselves. And if we achieve all of these different things, that we'll be happy. And we're trapped inside this cycle of living a lifestyle, or trying to live a lifestyle that matches up to what society tells us would make us happy. And in reality, it conflicts with our individual sense of what would make us happy. And we are individualistic. What makes me happy would be different from everybody else. Some people, they don't care about money. They're just happy to have a job where they have autonomy and freedom to express themselves naturally. Not everyone's interested in six packs and getting in great shape. Some are happy just being able to go for a walk and go for a run. Some people, they want a simpler lifestyle. They'd rather spend more time with family or with friends. They're not interested in travel and all that. So you could see how you become a slave to that narrative, and slave to this entrapment, this idea that this is what I need to do to be happy. But then you put that in the context of families and the family narrative. And the family narrative is shaped by so many different things. It's what happened to us and what happened to them. It's how we view each other, how we behave towards each other, how we didn't behave towards each other, what they said, what they didn't say. It's shaped by perspectives, it's shaped by beliefs, it's shaped by memories, and it's shaped by experiences. And underpinning all of that are really powerful emotions, whether it's guilt or shame, fear, dread, anger, grief. And that's what makes this narrative so powerful and so all-encompassing, is because the emotions are so powerful. They draw us into it, and we become this narrative. We live it, and we play it in our minds over and over. And often we project it onto the future, so we start to audition future memories or future events as they in my audition, how they'll play out based on this past narrative. Other times we project that narrative onto other relationships, maybe onto a relationship with our kids or with our friends or with our partner and everything else. And all these memories and experiences, we project this is going to happen again. And I'm not necessarily doing it consciously, because again, this narrative is so powerful. But the biggest challenge with a lot of people is just constantly replaying it in our minds over and over and over. And it does keep us trapped inside of our minds and outside of our body, and it's quite a painful experience, because there's a whole life away from family. There's friends, and there's career, and there's starting your own family, and there's being healthy and following your own goals and all the rest. And often we don't get to attain that. We don't have to reach this other side of our life because we're stuck within this one aspect of it, within this family, or within this narrative that we're constantly replaying over and over. And to get out of that narrative, you could use your willpower to decide, I don't want to think about this, I don't want to go to this space. But my preference is to go deeper and to really explore the emotions that are underpinning all of this, and we'll find different ways of processing it, different ways of resolving the traumas that keep us in there as well. And trauma is a massive part of it, and that the family narrative and all the memories and experiences can be quite torturous for us if we keep replaying them over and over. And that, again, part of the recovery process is to not torture ourselves. But again, we internalize so much, especially a part of the narrative. You had oppressive people in your life who were treating you in a way which was maybe in some way abusive, in some way authoritarian, in some way controlling. Again, we internalise it, and it's part of our inner dialogue, someone called it our inner parent the other day. It isn't always parents, maybe it's somebody else, but it's an interesting way of describing it. And a part of that narrative is also the roles that we take, the peacekeeper role, the rebellious role, the surrogate, parent role. There's many different roles. There's the joker, someone who's always trying to use humour to diffuse it. The delegator, someone who's constantly giving out work so they don't have to take it themselves. The judge, someone that's constantly putting people into boxes, trying to make themselves feel bigger and make everyone else feel smaller. Again, all of these are expressions of the narrative, and underpinning all of that is the pain that we all carry. And, to break out of that narrative involves healing the pain. And part of that is staying as present as possible. Now, as a therapist, I've changed how I work. And I had to, because just sitting down and talking isn't always effective. There is processing to it, and for a long time been very narrative focused. I used to love sitting down with my clients and really getting into the crux of what happened and why it happened. And there is therapy in that, because it's very validating, because I'm with them all the way through, and I'm validating their experiences, and it also gives them a sense that they're not on their own as they replay this narrative, or as they're dealing with their experiences with their family in the present moment. But often talking about it isn't enough to process it, because the emotion is quite deep rooted. And there's two different approaches to therapy. There's generally top down, which is very narrative focused, which is all about the beliefs and the cognitions and the memories, and this happened and that happened and they said this. And again, there's room for that, because we can't just dismiss what happened to people. It happened to them and it needs to be validated. But then the other side of it is bottom up, when we go body first and we focus on body sensations. We focus on what's happening in the body in the present moment. And this is all about working with the nervous system and working with processing repressed memories and repressed feelings that it wasn't safe to feel them back in the past. But maybe we find different ways of healing them now, in ways that transcend just talking and transcend just thinking, different ways of expressing themselves through movement, through posture, through colours, through shapes, through sound. And it's all very sensory, and it's fascinating, and it's opened my world up to different ways of working with clients, and I love bringing it into my clients' lives. But again, part of it, the overall goal is differentiation, not walking away from family, but living a life that isn't defined by them, where you're not constantly drawn back into the pain, drawn back into the drama, drawn back into the narrative, where you can start to write a different narrative, a narrative that's shaped by not by pain, not by guilt, not by obligation, not by anger, not by fear, but by something else, something that's written by you, that comes from a positive place, that's written by the people around you who do love you. And I'm not saying your family don't love you, but there's also other people in life who do love you, and it's often hard to internalize that love when you break out of that narrative, where maybe in that narrative you were a bad person, or the family perceive you as a bad person, they perceive you as being this and that, and all the different projections that are put onto you, and you step away from that fully, and as much as you can, as humanly can, you can start to absorb the love and the respect that you deserve, that will come from people outside the family. They don't have that bias. They're not projecting anything other than they see you for who you are, or what you could be, not what somebody else believed you to be or projected you to be. It's not easy work, but again, it's all part of going deeper inside and processing emotion and sitting with ourselves and finding profound ways of actually moving on from life, and not just getting trapped in this cycle of replaying, they did this and they did that, and this is why I'm estranging, and I have to because this happened, and constantly justifying why you're doing it. It takes up so much energy, a huge amount of energy, life energy, that could be spent being creative and being present around your own family or your friends. And I think that's one of the biggest difficulties and one of the biggest tragedies of all of this, is you're constantly replaying this narrative in your mind. You're not present. You're not being present for your family. You're not enjoying your surroundings. You're not enjoying the food that you're eating. You're not enjoying the company. You're not enjoying the fun that exists around you. You're constantly in this defensive state. And I understand why you're in it, but there has to be work. You have to move past this, because there's better ways to live your life. There's much better ways than being constantly trapped inside this family narrative. So that's it, guys. I'm off to enjoy the sun and take in the beautiful surroundings, because I needed to recharge myself a little bit. Another video coming next week. Again, follow the channel if you can, if you want to keep in touch with my work. On my website, carlmelvin.com, there's also some free training there. There's a video series around self-esteem, and there's a video series around managing a dysfunctional family. So I'll put links down the bottom. Check them out. They're there. They're completely free. You might benefit from them. And that's it, guys. I'll talk to you all very soon. Take care. Bye bye.